Hello, and welcome to the Daily Space for today, October 14th, 2020. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most Mondays through Fridays, our team will be here putting science into your brain. Usually, Wednesdays are for Rocket Roundup, and today is no different. Let's get to it, shall we? So first up, on Saturday, October 3rd at 1:16 UTC, a Northrop Grumman Antares rocket launched the Cygnus NG-14 mission from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at Wallops, Virginia. This was the 15th flight of a Cygnus and the 14th flight to resupply the International Space Station. The Cygnus NG-14 was named the SS Kalpana Chawla in memory of NASA mission specialist who died with her crewmates on Columbia in 2003. According to Northrop Grumman, she was selected in honor of her prominent place in history as the first woman of Indian descent to go into space. And here's the rocket launch video. Reminder, rocket launches are loud.
T-minus 15 seconds.
T-minus 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have engine ignition.
Engine start and liftoff. The SS Kalpana Chawla takes flight, sights set on the International Space Station.
All right. This image shows the Cygnus approaching the Canada arm on its arrival to the International Space Station. There was a lot of cargo on board this mission. 3,551 kilograms, equivalent to 12.6 brown bears. Yes, I know you can't have part of a brown bear, just deal with it. Making it the second heaviest cargo mission to date. There were 1,217 kilograms of science investigations, including the multi-needle Langmuir probe that will measure ionospheric plasma densities for the University of Oslo and a Norwegian company called Eidsvoll Electronics. It will be installed on a platform on the outside of the European Columbus module. Alana 31, which will deploy 3 CubeSats from the ISS. Sapphire 5, the 5th spacecraft fire experiment, will safely examine the process of combustion, smoke behavior, and flame spreading in a microgravity environment. Advanced Night Repair, which is an Estee Lauder product that will be photographed with the Earth as a backdrop for social media and marketing campaigns. This is part of a new NASA program that dedicates 5% of space station cargo capacity and crew time to commercial marketing activities. Estee Lauder will reimburse NASA around $128,000 US dollars for the resources used in the Night Serum Marketing Initiative, according to Phil McAllister, Director of Commercial Spaceflight Development of NASA. Space-rated camera, which will be maneuvered by Canadarm2 to record extravehicular spacewalks, which they're just spacewalks without vehicles, in space outside of the ISS. And my favorite, the Universal Waste Management System. The Universal Waste Management System is a $23 million titanium space toilet. It is about 65% smaller and 40% lighter than the toilet currently on the space station, making it roughly the same size as the toilet you might find in a camper. Melissa McKinley, a NASA Systems project manager, said in an interview on a Canadian radio program that the goal there for a team is to make it so the crew can focus on other things they need to do during space travel and make this a more comfortable and convenient way for them to deal with these bodily functions. In addition to being more comfortable and easier to use, clean, and maintain, it is also said to be better suited for female crew members than the existing commode on the ISS. Being easier to clean is a big deal because the current one, well, smells. According to a tweet from the Orion capsule engineering lead, Jason Hutt, if you want to recreate that used spacecraft smell, take a couple of dirty diapers, some microwave food wrappers, a used air sickness bag, and a few sweaty towels. Put them in an old school metal trash can and let them bake in the summer sun for 10 days. Then open the lid and breathe deep. The new model comes with a bacteria filter that should help mitigate this problem. In fact, according to Melissa McKinley, it's been said that the air coming out of the toilet is some of the nicest smelling air on the spacecraft. We'll give NASA astronaut Jessica Meir the final word on this subject. When it comes to our urine on the ISS, today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. All right, next up on Tuesday, October 6th at 11:28 UTC, SpaceX launched a batch of Starlink satellites from LC-39 Alpha at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This was a dedicated mission, so another 60 satellites were added to the mega constellation, bringing the total number of version 1.0 satellites launched to 713 of a planned 1,440 satellites. Even with just shy of half the satellites in the first phase of this constellation, SpaceX was able to provide proof of concept. After launch, SpaceX reported that first responders in Washington state have been using the service for their purposes and to bring the residents of Malden internet service while they rebuild their community. Malden is located about 35 miles south of Spokane, Washington, which falls within the northern latitudes our satellites currently service. The way emergency responders deployed Starlink in this context is representative of how Starlink works best in remote or rural areas where internet connectivity is unavailable. This image is from SpaceX, and for those of you keeping score at home, this was the third flight of the first stage, Bravo 1058. SpaceX reported that one of the fairing halves supported two previous Starlink launches. Both halves were recovered, with Ms. Tree making a successful catch. Reminder, rocket launches are loud.
Stage 1 flight press.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
We're pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
And it wouldn't be a SpaceX launch without a SpaceX
Terminal
landing.
guidance.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
Looks like right
Landing confirmed.
in the center. That marks 61 successful recoveries. Third time for this booster.
All right, for our last launch of the week on Sunday, October 11th at 16:57 UTC, China launched the Gaofen 13 satellite on board a Long March 3 Bravo from Xichang Satellite Launch Center. According to Xinhua News, China's state-run press agency, Gaofen is a high-orbit optical remote sensing satellite. It is mainly used in the fields of land survey, crop yield estimation, environmental management, weather warning and forecast, and comprehensive disaster prevention and mitigation. No official information about resolution or coverage was released. And here's that launch video.
5、4、3、2、1，点火！点火！
All The boosters separating, the fairings separating. Ta-da! All right, to wrap things up, here's a running tally of a few spaceflight statistics for the current year. There are currently 4 toilets in space. So there's 2 currently installed on the ISS. There's 1 attached to the ISS because it's onboard Soyuz. And the new space toilet still counts even though it's not installed yet. We have burned up 2 toilets in the atmosphere so far this year. Humanity has put a whopping 916 satellites into orbit just this year. 888 of those were directly from rocket launches, and 653 of those were Starlinks. There have been a total of 80 orbital launch attempts so far this year, including 9 failures. I keep track of orbital launches by where they launched from, also known as spaceport. Here's that breakdown. China, 30, USA, 26, Kazakhstan, 6, French Guiana, 4, Russia, 4, New Zealand, 4, Japan, 3, Iran, 2, Israel, 1. And your random space fact for the week, Messier 110, also known as NGC-205, is a dwarf elliptical galaxy that is a satellite of the Andromeda Galaxy. It was first recorded by Charles Messier on August 10th, 1773, but it wasn't actually added to the list of Messier objects until 1967, nearly 200 years later, making it the very last member of the list. And that rounds out our show for today. Thank you all for listening. I have been your host, Annie Wilson. Today's script was written and edited by Dave Bullard, Gordon Dewis, Ali Pelfrey, and myself. Our web content will be produced by Beth Johnson. Our executive producer and fearless leader is Dr. Pamela Gay. The Daily Space is a product of the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. We are here thanks to the generous contributions of people just like you. The best way you can support us is through Patreon at patreon.com/CosmoQuestX. Like us, please share us. You never know whose life you can add. You never know whose life you can change by adding a daily dose of science.